Hey, what's up everyone? Adam here with brahwegotthis, and today I'm going to show you the best methods of farming resource materials in ESO. I will go over multiple methods, my favorite ones along with the best ones, some tips on helping you farm each of those methods quicker and more effectively, and I'm going to show you which methods are suitable for which type of players and play style. So like if you can play the game for a decent amount of time, or if you can't play the game that often each day, or if you're a crafter, or so on and so forth. Before we get started, I do want to mention that I do stream live on twitch.tv/brahwegotthis on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to come by and watch me play, you can come there, and that link is in the description. You can comment, you can ask questions, you can just hang out, and if you want to join our Discord and our second guild, the link to the Discord is in the description as well. We have a great community there growing. We're over 1,500 people in the Discord right now, so come on in and join. And if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, I am there as well. The links are in the description. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and heavy attack that bell icon if you like this content to stay up to date on all of my content and giveaways. If you guys want to, there are timestamps in the description as well that you guys can go to, so check those out. But first, let's talk about what resources are in ESO. The resources are items, usually stackable ones that are used to create things in the game or are a part of some recipe to make items in the game. These are typically referred to crafting mats or just mats in general. These range from the resources you see in the world to items you loot from bosses that you can break down at crafting tables. You need resources to make anything in this game except for gear, weapons, or any other thing that is only farmed doing certain content. So if you find yourself running out of resources, you may need to farm them instead of spending gold on guild traders. Farming mats are a great way to not only receive these for crafting, but also make loads of money. You can get mats in bulk that will sell nicely on guild traders, and some pretty pricey resins, which we'll go into later, but these can sell for 3 to 6K a piece depending on the platform and server. So here are the most common ways to gather these resources in mats. I consider the first way to be for players that don't want to necessarily farm exclusively, but want to get other things done as well. So sort of like multitaskers or PvEers is what I like to call it. This is just playing the game, questing, doing dungeons, killing things, and looting every single container you see. This is how many people gather their resources, which is perfectly fine. This is what I did until I wanted to get more crafting and profit from this. And believe me, you will accumulate a lot of stuff by just doing this. If you farm a dungeon over and over again, you're going to get a decent amount of mats from it. You will accumulate a ton of resources this way, so again, it's a valid method. The next method is catered to the hardcore farmer or a person that may have a lot of time to play the game, or just doesn't get bored of repetitive things and might just want to spend their time farming. They just enjoy farming. This can be also for crafters as well. This is actually gathering the resources manually, which are, again, another solid method and can have huge potential gains depending on your setup and a few other factors that I get into later in the video. The next way is for mainly crafters, again, or people that don't have a ton of time to play each day, and this is to farm mats doing surveys because you get these in such high quantities at such a quick amount of time. These are things that you can get from doing crafting writs. These are essentially treasure maps, but for crafting. These will reward you with tons of mats, like I said. These surveys can be in any zone in the game, and you can't get provisioning ones. The last thing is catered to just doing very specific farms for specific items. These are for people that want to farm specific things. Two examples of these are dolmens in Alcure Desert for jewelry mats. You're going to get tons of jewelry mats from this when you break down the items from doing these dolmens. Another one is doing Bloodmane Cave Delve in AD Cyrodiil. This will get you loads of beetle scuttle, spider eggs, and other alchemy mats that will sell for a decent amount. And another one that I just remembered is in Craglorn, farming the nodes there. You can get potent and fortified Nirn Crux, which is the material to make Nirnhold items, which they sell. The Nirn resources sell for a lot of gold. But now that I showed you the methods of farming resources in this game, I want to explain which one of these are my favorites and which ones are the best, plus give you tips on how you can farm each of these methods more effectively. The first one that I want to go over is just farming mats by playing the game. This method is for the PvEer, like I said, or maybe a PvPer as well that just doesn't want to bother running loops or doing surveys. Again, this is realistically a very chill way to farm mats while leveling or doing other things in the game. But this isn't the best way to get the most overall mats in a span of time. Mainly because, again, you may be questing at a slower pace or your dungeon runs may take 30 minutes. It all depends on the overland or general things in the game that you're doing that contributes to how many mats you will actually get. However, this method is easy. It's chill. and you will still accumulate a lot of mats this way. So some tips on making this more effective are really just making sure your crafting lines are leveled up if you can, because certain passives like metal extraction from the blacksmithing line will net you better return when you deconstruct items that you get from dungeons. Also, make sure you always deconstruct intricate items for better yield and experience. If you want to check out my beginner crafting video, I'll link that in the description and at the top of the screen as well. This method, again, will help you multitask the best, but it isn't the most efficient in terms of quantity of resources that you will get. Next method is the old school way of farming in a game, and that is actually picking the resources yourself. This method is for the hardcore farmer usually, or the person that has more time to play, or crafter, like I said, or just enjoys this. And this is the best method of farming resources in the game, depending on a few things, in my opinion, because there's another one that's tied with it. If you can handle the repetitiveness, this is something that you can get a load of money and resources from. And we will talk about the other best method again, depending on a few factors after this one. But this is a method that isn't necessarily my favorite, but with the addition of a new item in the game, it has become more fun in my opinion. And that item is the mythic item, the Ring of the Wild Hunt. This item is from the new antiquity system in Greymore that launched about a month ago. This increases movement speed by 45% outside of combat, so you really can go zoom with this. Also, if you want to check out my beginner antiquities guide, again, I'll have that in the description below for you guys if you want to check out how to do that. But this is a ring that I tried out on the PTS, and I farmed resources with it, and it was so fun to just zip around the map. But farming raw resources is one of the best ways to get resources in the game. The best zone to do this in is our Tayum from Somerset expansion or DLC. This is the smallest zone in the game, I believe, and everyone in the zone right now is farming antiquities, not resources. But you'll see my map is covered in resource nodes on this character. That add-on is Harvest Map. You have the shortest amount of space to cover here, which makes it the best spot in my opinion. Now, another thing that you can add on to this is that you can get yourself a set of jewelry with the Swift trait that increases movement speed as well. Now, if you don't have Somerset, then any base game starter island is solid too. Betnik is good, Kynarthi's Roost is good, and Balfoyen. These are pretty small in comparison. Some other zones that I like farming resources on and are fairly easy to traverse are East March in the Ebonheart Pact. It's got pretty simple roads and the terrain isn't too bad. Also, Alakir Desert is fairly easy to traverse as well in the Daggerfall Covenant, and Reaper's March in the Aldermary Dominion as well as a decent zone to traverse. Also, again, you can farm in Craglorn, which will give chances at getting the Nirn mats, which will sell for a lot in Guild Traders. A lot of people do this. They farm their mats in Craglorn, but that's really up to you if you want to do that. There's going to be a lot of people farming those in Craglorn, so you just need to kind of decide if you want to farm for the money or if you want just the mats. So it's a solid place to go, though, for money. Now, for some tips with raw resource farming, there is a good bit to make this as efficient as you can. First is if you farm bigger zones, make sure to do mini loops and not just wander, because that will be more efficient than if you just wander around. Okay, so that means like farm in circles, farm in loops. Find a path or an area that you can keep hitting because that will increase and help your farming techniques a lot. Next, if you are high enough CP, you will need to be at least 360 CP for this. You can put enough points into the Lover Constellation. This will unlock for you Plentiful Harvest, which gives you an additional 10% chance to receive double yield from resource nodes. You can also get that once 10 points are into the tree, so that's not a lot of points at all for just that one. At rank 75 in the Lover, you earn Master Gatherer, which reduces your gathering time by 50%. That is very helpful. And at 120, you get Wind Running, which increases movement and mounted speed by 2%. And again, I want to say that if you want all of that, you've got to have 360 CP points in total to be able to get to that 120 level. But the first two are amazing, guys, and I would definitely try to go for those if you can. Also, using the skill Rapid Maneuver from the PvP line will increase your mounted and movement speed as well. This is a great option paired with the full set of Swift traded jewelry, which increases movement speed, and the new Ring of the Wild Hunt. Now, is all this necessary to farm raw mats? No, it isn't. But again, like I said, these are all things you can do to make this the best method in the game if you want to. The Ring of the Wild Hunt is something that affords you the option to sprint to some resources instead of mounting. With that ring on, you could probably sprint to a resource in a small zone faster than mounting in some cases. You have to just gauge this based on how quickly you can mount and farm the resource. If you want to really go hardcore on this, you can create an alternate character just for farming. People definitely do this. The best class would probably be Orc, because that's a passive that increases your movement speed while sprinting by 10% and reduces the cost of your sprint by 12%, which is so ridiculous. Couple that with the Ring in the Wild Hunt, Swift Jewelry, and Rapid Maneuver, and those CP passives, you will be flying around the map. I also want to mention that with your movement speed, if you're getting Major Expedition or Major Gallop, you can't stack that with another thing of Major Expedition or Major Gallop. So just keep that in mind. Like, you can't stack the Vampire skill and then another skill that has gives you Major Expedition. Like, you just can't stack 2 Major Expeditions. So just keep that in mind. The other tips are make sure to, again, level up your crafting line so you can refine materials and get resins and other sort of mats yielded to you, because, again, metal extraction out of the blacksmithing line, for example, lets you refine raw mats and get timbers back the higher the passive is. These timbers can sell for a lot of gold. These are the resins I was talking about. Also, this is the only time I endorse using the Keen Eye passive for crafting. If you want to farm manual resources, put points into Keen Eye so you can see them from farther away. Another thing I want to bring up is paying attention to events. Right now, Mid-Year Mayhem is going on, which is a PvP event. Sometimes when ZOS runs these, you can get double resource gain from areas that the events are in. So in Cyrodiil right now, you can get double resources. If you want to check out that video on how to participate in this event, there are a few days left. Check it out in the description or at the top of the screen. The next method is also considered the best method, in my opinion, to farm mats, depending on a few things as well. This method and the last one are really your 2 biggest overarching ways to farm mats the best way. It just depends on which one appeals to you more. You can also do both, not either or, but this method is for a crafter or someone who may not have as much time per day to play. This one is crafting surveys. These surveys you get from completing your daily crafting writs. If you do these just on one character, for instance, your main account or something, you will get these pretty frequently, in my opinion. What I like to do is when I have 25 to 30 of them, I'll go and complete all of them. All you have to do for these is go to the location. If you have the Lost Treasure add-on on PC, it will show you the X on the map. When you get there, there will be an abundance of resources. But when you complete them, the survey will be gone in your inventory. These are the quickest way to get the most resources at one time. Now, the fun starts if you can do multiple crafting characters. If you have this, you will get so many surveys that you basically will never run out of resources. This is where the ball is in your court. The initial setup of making, say, 5 characters that can do level 50 crafting writs may take a little bit of time, but once you do it, if you get on each day and do your writs on PC for 5 characters, you can probably have writs done in 30 to 45 minutes, depending on your PC specs. And if you want to check out my add-ons video to help you set up your crafting add-ons for your writs, check out the add-on video in the description. It is there for you guys if you guys want to take a look at that. But the great thing about this method is you can still be a PvEer and do your writs each day on at least 1 character and maybe 2 and still get loads of surveys. It's a nice thing, but for hardcore players that want to farm making a lot of alts, to do this will make you loads of money and get you tons of resources. I would say surveys are my favorite way to grind resources. Now, I will say with all of this, I want to mention the craft bag. This is an ESO Plus edition. This is a lifesaver, and I highly recommend it if you're thinking about farming mats a lot. You can make do without it, but it's really nice. If you want to learn more about ESO Plus, check out my guide in the description as well. So the tips for doing surveys are as follows. Again, the more alts you have, the more surveys you will get. You can still do these and will still get these at sub 50 crafting levels, but I would recommend doing them at level 50 crafting once you get 50 in the professions, just because these are going to be the desired mats that people are looking for. The next tip is the more waste shrines you have, the better. It makes it easier to travel to the locations. Upgrade your mount speed is another tip, like farming raw nodes. And store these surveys in the bank, or if you have a storage container in your house, store them until you're ready. Again, having add-ons if you are on PC are so helpful. Lost Treasure is the add-on that can help you out a lot with this. Lastly, again, if you are going to go for more specific runs of certain areas, if you want to farm beetle scuttle, spider eggs, and other alchemy mats that sell for a lot, Bloodmane Cave is a great place in AD Cyrodiil. If you want jewelry mats, farming Alakir Desert Dolmens is a great way for farming jewelry mats. The last thing that I touched on a little bit before, but farming mats in Craglorn is one of the last specific things that I can think of that is a great farming loop or method. This is one way to actually make a ton of money in this game. Farming raw resource nodes in Craglorn is so good. It's just, it might be saturated with other people because that's what a lot of people farm. And the drop rates, I don't know how high or low they are for the potent Nern items, but they can make you loads of money if you do get them. Again, there are other methods, again, for farming specific resources, but these are my 3 that I think are the biggest ones when it comes to specific farms. But that's it, y'all. That is my resource farming guide. If you guys like this, make sure again to like, subscribe, heavy attack that bell icon. And if you ever want to come by and watch me play live, you can watch me on twitch.tv/brahwegotthis on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just always come by in the chat, say hello. I'd love to see you there. And if you want to join our community, you can join the Discord and the second guild. The links to the Discord and the Twitch are all in the description. But I hope that this video helped you guys out. I hope it gave you a little insight of how to farm mats in this game and some of the best ways to farm them. And I hope that you will get loads and loads of resources and money and gold from this. And let me know in the comments if you guys have any cool spots that you like to farm as well. But until next time, guys and gals, have faith, be great, and I'll see you on ESO.